Hi lovely people, Josie here, and this is Josie. I'm glad to have you here. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you for whoever has followed me throughout the month of May, where I've been documenting the garments I've been wearing each day of May, which were my me-made garments, clothes I made myself, which was actually brilliant, documenting the entire journey and telling you all about each garment I was wearing. And in today's video, I'm going to show you my May makes. You might have seen most of these garments during my Me Made May videos, but I would like to take you into detail of each and every garment I've made, telling you about the sizing, the alterations I made, and also the fabrics I've used. With no further ado, let me take you through. And the first garment I'm going to show you, this was also a new pattern released this month. That was the Love Notions Balland pattern. And it's an interesting pattern. It's a button down blouse, and I decided to go with a plain white, I think it's either gauze or cotton lawn fabric, and it's a Dobby fabric with those little texture thread. That's what they call the Dobby. And this is an interesting pattern. It's not your beginner friendly, but it's also not as complicated. It's button down, so if you hate buttonholes, like I claim I do, sometimes my machine is really good, and sometimes it just makes me say so many words I shouldn't be saying. And it features shearing at the top here. This has some shearing. If you're wondering, that elasticated thread, I've fallen in love with shearing, and the construction process of the shearing is actually clever with this pattern. They give you a rectangle that you shear together, then you go ahead and cut out these pieces that you need to attach for the shearing. So after you've sheared a bigger piece, you cut out these pattern pieces, because it will be harder to shear just these small bits. And also it features a yoke. There is a yoke from the back here that connects to the shearing bit, and with this yoke you construct it using a burrito method. So with inside you actually have finished seams. There are no raw edges on the inside, and also in the inside below the yoke they're finished using a burrito method before. And this features quite a number of sleeve options. You've got bishop sleeves, short sleeves, cap sleeves, but I decided to go with a sleeveless version, and also used bias binding, self-made bias binding, using the same fabric to finish it up. And it features a rounded hem. It's actually a clean finished top, because I went with white, because you can't go wrong with white. It's recommended for more floaty fabrics, but I went with a lightweight one, which still works perfectly well. Should you use more stable wovens like cotton poplin, it wouldn't flatter this. It's recommended for the likes of viscose, the rayon, low cotton lawn, and probably gauze. So this is a good top. And also, if you're not a fan of the shearing, you actually have an option of using gathers instead of the shearing, but I wanted to go all in because I had enough shearing thread, so I went with shearing. And yeah, this is the Love Notions Balland pattern. I'll make sure I attach all the patterns in the description box below. And yes, if you're new to my channel, I'm an ambassador with Love Notions, so I tend to sew up with many of their patterns, but that doesn't mean that I don't sew up with other patterns. So I always sew up with patterns I think I would love and that I know would look good on me. Yeah, and this is our first make. So our next make, I could show you probably what I'm wearing right now. And this is the Minerva Dress by Little Lizard pattern. I'll try to attach images because you can't see it full on. And this is a free pattern that was released this year. And it also comes with a girls pattern version. So I made the girls version for my daughter and one for myself. And I used this gorgeous art gallery fabric, which I received from Minerva in exchange for a blog post, because I'm an ambassador of theirs. And the Minerva Dress is a beautiful pattern, and it's a free pattern, so you can't go wrong with that. I'll show you off this one because it's a smaller version. It features a fitted bodice. And actually this pattern comes in sizes 0 to 32 for the adults, and it comes with full bust adjustments. I remember upon releasing it, it had a limited size range, but later on, a few months later, they added the bigger size range, so any lady almost can find a fitting size. And it also features full bust adjusted pieces for all the sizes, which is a bonus. So I made size 2 or 4 in mine. I don't remember the exact size, you'll bear with me. I could cross check in my book here. I always have my notebook where I write the sizes. Bear with me. I made size 2 for myself. That's where I landed with the bust and the waist, and the hips I didn't bother because it's a half circle skirt. So size 2 was true to size, and I liked actually the dipped neckline. It has a clever way of completing this neckline whereby the seams are concealed on the inside. You don't also see them on the outside, if you can tell. I won't show you a lot. Probably I could show you off my daughter's dress. This is the edge of the seam on the binding, then also it's concealed on the inside. It's a clever way of constructing it, and it holds your hand, and it also features puffy sleeves. If you can tell, I had to gather the sleeves onto the sleeve head, and also a sleeve band. I went with the sleeve band. The other option is to just finish the short sleeves with an elastic, but I prefer the sleeve band. It's much easier that you don't have any raw edges to play with. And yeah, it's a half circle skirt, and I actually made an exact one. I'll try to attach an image, and you don't have to gather the waistline. It perfectly fits onto the skirt. And I made size 7 for my daughter. However, one thing to note, these patterns both are drafted to be a bit short. I looked at the images that appeared on the website. Most of them, the ladies' skirt dresses, were a bit short. So I went ahead and looked at the finished measurements of this particular pattern, and I lengthened mine by 3 inches. And honestly, I should have done that for my daughter, but I don't worry a lot about her because most times their dresses can be worn longer with leggings underneath. So as I made 7, which was true to size, it fits her well, apart from the fact that it's a bit short, so she'll be outgrowing it anytime soon, and the fact that they are at that stage where they're growing so fast. But mine comes at above my knee, the perfect length I always love for my dresses. And I didn't make any alterations apart from lengthening it. However, this pattern can also be made as a top, and for the top, the bodice is still the same, but it's cut around here, so it comes up like a peplum dress. And also it features long-sleeved bishop sleeves. Imagine the long sleeves that are full at the bottom, then a band. However, I didn't have enough fabric for that. That's what I was going for. And in hindsight, I'm glad I did this, because this being a summer dress, you can always have a jumper over it or a caddy, as opposed to making long sleeved in this bright summery fabric. You wouldn't want to wear it much when the weather is warm. Not that it gets as warm here, but I was just thinking for the future, just in case I travel during summer and I need to wear this dress, I can still wear it in warm Africa when I travel home. Okay, let me show you my other make. I also made a simple skirt. You can't go wrong with a simple skirt when you've got those small bits of fabric and you want to make a skirt for your daughter. And I made this for a class that I will be telling you about, that I was documenting, a beginner class. So I made a skirt. I had this cotton in my stash, cotton poplar in my stash for a while, and it's a gorgeous pattern. It's a gorgeous pattern of the fabric. And I made just a rectangle, 2 rectangles of a skirt. And I like the finished band. This band looks gorgeous. It has like a ruff of some bit. It's when you create the elastic casing, but also sew just like 3/8 of an inch from the folded line. So with that, it creates a nice gather at the top. And I also added some optional lace, mostly to add extra detail to the skirt. I had some cotton lace, which looks gorgeous. So I decided to add it onto her dress, and it was an interesting one. And she loves skirts so much, and you can't go wrong with plain skirts. With skirts that you can pair up with tops she has in our wardrobe. And yes, I also made something else. I seem to be going through so fast. If you're wondering, from the ballad blouse I've shown you, for Love Notions, I sew up size extra small or size 2 for the bodices, and it's when I make the bottoms that I go with size small or size 4 when I'm sewing, but most times it's extra small for the upper part, and for the bottoms I go for size small. So if I forget to tell you the sizing I've made for Love Notions, that's what I always go for. And then this is a gorgeous fabric. I'm going to show it to you before I expose it to the sun. And this is a ultraviolet reactive fabric I received from Minerva. The color changes once it goes outside and it's exposed to the sun, so she loves it. I will try to attach an image of before and after with her wearing it. And this is a basic jumper for a girl, and I decided to go with different colors for the ribbing because it's already a fun fabric that changes color. It creates the pinks. If you can tell, the colors are changing. It creates some pinks, some blues and yellows when it's in the bright light. And I knew if I went with just this nude color, this nude or whatever you would call pale pink, it wouldn't brighten up the top as well, although the pink it gets to is not as bright as this. But I was like, if the fabric's already fun, I could also play around with the ribbing. And there's no harm in that because you can't buy it ready to wear with those different ribbings. So you add your personal touch to it. So I decided to go with that, and I used a simple pattern. That's the Sloan sweater by Love Notions for kids. They also have the ladies version, and I decided to whip up a quick sweater that she can wear on a chilly day, which seems to happen most of the time in the UK. So, and this fabric I also received from Minerva in exchange for a blog post, and when I saw it, I knew my daughter would love it because she loves unicorns, not bunnies per se, but bunnies and unicorns are close and there. So I just whipped up a quick one. I know this pattern comes with a few features. You can either go with a patch around here in a different fabric. It has sleeve patches, then it features a yoke, but I wanted a basic jumper. Sometimes you just want something easy that you can whip up. And I remember I had the fun of timing myself whipping up this part, sewing this with my overlock. I pretty much did everything with my overlocker, and it took me 40 minutes sewing it. Probably that's not the fastest some people do. I was ironing and sewing it up with my overlocker, stitching everything, and I was done in 40 minutes. And it was just fun timing yourself and seeing how fast something can come together. And yeah, she loves this jumper. And then my next make, yes, I've done some selfless sewing, and yes, I've sewn up something for the boys in my life. And I sewed up this shirt for my husband. And this is the Love Notion Dockside t-shirt pattern for men. And the guy and the little boy's coordinating pattern is the driftwood one. So I sewed up 2 shirts for the men in my life. And in the past, I've sewn up the dockside pattern. The dockside pattern features a polo and also a Henley shirt and the crew neck one. And in the past, I've sewn up the Henley shirt for my husband. He loved it so much. However, it was such a labor of love. My machine just acts up whenever I have to sew buttonholes on knitted fabrics. Yes, I stabilized those places with interfacing, but still it wasn't the easiest. The first buttonhole worked out well, and the second one was not budging. So this time round, I didn't go down that route. I decided to go with a basic crew neck. You can't go wrong. And this is a gorgeous organic cotton at Gallery fabric. I love this fabric. It feels so soft. It's buttery to the touch. And I decided to go with ribbing. I had coordinating ribbing. That's ribbing, I could call it teal or turquoise, whichever color you want to call it. So I decided to just use ribbing to allow for more stretch when they're pulling it over their heads. And I made the same exact one for my son. And actually the driftwood is exactly like the dockside. It also features a polo and a Henley option. But honestly, that's not something I would do for a little boy's shirt that they would outgrow within a short time. And for my son, he's 10. However, it's quite slim, so I sewed size 8, but I lengthened it to size 10 length for the sleeves and the border of the skirt of the shirt because he's quite a tall lad. So this fits him well. And for my husband, I don't remember which exact size I made, probably large, if I'm not mistaken. And I made him try it on before I could hem it, and he told me where he wanted it to fit. But in hindsight, I should have listened to myself and not followed his instructions, or I should have measured the shirt I made using the same pattern in the past. Definitely, it comes up a bit roomy at the bottom to accommodate for men's tummies because that's where they collect most of their weight and that. So for their shirts are rarely straight shirts. So just like I did with the first one I ever sewed for him, I had to take it in on the sides quite a lot. I did the same this time, but he told me to to shorten it by a margin, which probably I should have questioned and measured the previous shirt to know how much I needed to take out. So by the time I took it out, I realized I should have left an extra inch to it. So it's not the shortest, but it's not the length I would be happy with, because the beauty with sewing your own shirts, you get the right length you want that you wouldn't find with ready-to-wear shirts his size. But all in all, he actually loves this shirt. They are quite buttery, and with the fabric, this fabric was also from Minerva, and whatever was left of this fabric, I whipped up these 2 leggings, baby leggings. No, I'm not expecting a child. I whipped up 2 pairs of these leggings, and this is a free pattern by Patterns for Pirates, and these are the petite pegs. That's such a quick make. They are for 2 friends of mine who have had babies recently, and I sewed up size 9 months. It's a free pattern that comes from newborn to 12 months. It's your go-to pattern if you want to whip up ones for your own children off as gifts, because it's a free pattern and it's such a quick make. And I actually realized you can whip up 2 pairs of this, the 9 month size, out of half a meter of fabric. And they're such quick makes. You don't need to add any elastic. You just use the band by itself, and they're such quick makes. Honestly, I love them. They're so cute. And unfortunately, I didn't sew a lot when I had my kids, so at least I'm happy to make more of these whenever my friends get babies. I'll whip up this because you can use, they are great scrub busters, and because it's organic cotton, they are so soft. They're best fabric for kids to wear. And then my final make of this month is the game day dress pattern, also by Love Notions. And this is meant to be the game day jersey. It's meant to be a jersey pattern. It comes in a men's version, then also kids version, and the ladies version. However, the ladies version also comes with a with a dress. I'll try to attach images of each and every item I made. And this I made out of French terry fabric I bought from Fabrics for All. I'll try attaching every link to all the fabrics I'm showing you and also the patterns I'm showing you. And this is meant to be a jersey fabric. I'm not a sports fan, so I turned this into my weekend dress pattern, and actually it has gotten loads of wear. It's your relaxed knee length dress, and it features side splits, which are an added feature, and also it features a back seam, which is comes in handy with fitting. So I used it to take in some fabric on the side at the back, and it also features a yoke at the back, and also an overlap V-neck at the front. However, you also have an option of sewing it up with a crew neck, but I think I loved the added detail that the V creates, and I did a good job actually pattern matching. While I was cutting the ribbing, I made sure that I cut it up that the line just goes over at the same point with both ribbing. And also I did a great job. I'm giving myself a pat on the back with lining up the side seams. These are the side seams, and I lined up all the stripes together, and also in the back. So this took a lot of time actually sewing up, because I wanted to line up the seams. So most times it's much easier for me to sew up most jersey and stretch fabrics on my overlocker, but because I wanted to line up the stripes, I had to go in with a basting stitch over my overlocker over pins, and I actually accept that. That's the point when I'm okay with sewing over pins, because that's the only way you're sure that the fabric won't shift. So I did that, then went to my overlocker. That's why it took a lot of time, but actually if you use decent fabrics that are non-stripy, that you're not dying too much, it would come together pretty fast. I'll attach an image of this too. Otherwise, that's a roundup of all my main makes items I've made this month, and I can't wait to show you what I'm up to in June, because I've got a few planned out. Otherwise, please let me know what you think. Which one was your favorite? Which pattern would you want to have a go at sewing? Otherwise, if you've sat through this video and you're not subscribed to my channel, you could go ahead and subscribe, and also press the bell icon so YouTube notifies you whenever I upload a video. I try to bring you regular videos of my documenting my sewing journey, and a few crafts if I'm inspired to do something else. Otherwise, please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, bye.